the walking weapon, Josh Alexander, and you're listening to Total Nonstop Impact.
We are the Rascals. And you are listening to Total
Nonstop
Impact Podcast, baby.
Woo! And what you're really listening to is Total Nonstop Impact. Don't you dare miss a listen. Oh yeah!
Make some noise!
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to Total Nonstop Impact. Still working out some bells and whistles here.
It's the turkey, J-Bone. It's the turkey.
Yeah, it's the turkey. That's why we got a couple of these in the fridge. So
there you go. You jive turkey, you.
Oh, we're full of jive tonight. How you doing, Bill?
Doing good, J-Bone. Good to see you. Hopefully everybody had a good holiday. Obviously, turning point on Black Friday in a holiday weekend was not the best for the TNI fam and the TNI schedule. So we got lucky here with J-Bone, who I know is a little under the weather as well. Good to see you back at it. And he's going to be doing some double duty with the Ramblers Unleashed after this. So you get a full night of J-Bone podcasting excellence. You could say
absolutely
very professional.
So tonight is a makeup night for TNI, and it's also in an hour. So we're doing a speed run tonight for TNI. Not a usual 2-hour run. We're doing a speed run tonight total for Turning Point. We wanted to get that taken care of. And then following this over on the Ramblers, I'll be with my boys over there talking war games, some news surrounding Turning Point and some other stuff, other stuff in wrestling. So loaded weekend, man. Loaded weekend.
Yeah. So stay tuned. You got a full night with the Bone Man. And you got part of your night with me.
Yes.
I want to make sure we get in because I will not be around for the Thursday review unless it's a cameo because I'll be up in New York City for MLW where we'll also see somebody that was at Turning Point. So I'll make sure to mention that when we get to it.
And also someone that who I just found out and I forgot because I watched last week, but I was not watching live tonight, is someone that's on NXT. So somebody's making the wrestling rounds. It's very interesting. Mr. Easy-E.
Yes. Yeah, he had a brief appearance last week, but he was actually there tonight. So
right.
And he'll also obviously he's the whole thing with the show I'm at on Thursday. So interesting. Well, we'll see. But good to see a lot of people in the chat. But yeah, it is a speed run show, so we'll obviously hit some topics as we go, but we'll make sure to get our full review in as we go there. But good to see our member there, Justin Miller, for 10 months.
Yes.
TNI Main Event Mafia. Love it. Good evening.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah, we've had some come, some people come, some people go, but they haven't left the family. It's like, hey, we get it.
When you're here, your family.
It's you hey, we get it. We don't fault anyone for helping support the show and then you drop out for a while or indefinitely or whatever. It's that time
just
of
when
year.
You leave, we bring you back in.
Yeah, you're pinching pennies. We're all pinching pennies to get through the holidays.
It's the holidays. Yeah, it's the
right.
holidays.
Yeah. So we get it. We still love you guys no matter what, no matter how you support the show. We're very thankful for you. We love you guys.
However you're finding it. If it's here, if it's on the YouTube, the Twitch, if it's on the audio platforms, tell a friend, tell a family member.
Yeah.
Leave it under the old Christmas tree.
I know Courtney was excited. She's getting a double dose of to where are the Ramblers? It's two shows. Two
shots.
Yes. 2 shows, one night.
Just more content.
Right.
We're here to create content.
Bone Man's in both. Bone Man's working double time. Yes.
Double bone.
That's right. And yes,
Now, J-Bone.
Styles, yes, it's J-Bone's fault. Yes, absolutely.
Well, speaking of fault, J-Bone, I don't know if you want to talk about this as we get into the show or just put it out in the forefront. I know I heard a lot of it the last couple of days when the show went on about the production. Do we want to get into it now, or do we want to get into it with the show? Because I think we at least need to kind of just clear up the situation if people aren't familiar with it.
Well, I know some people would
what it was
about it. Obviously, it looked different because it didn't have whoever puts on the Wrestle Cage shows.
Yeah, Title Match Network.
Okay, so it was their production.
It was their production. Not that there wasn't any people from obviously TNA, like obviously the roster. There were obviously some key figures, but the production was not your typical TNA production. That was through obviously WrestleCade and Title Match Network. So it had that more of an indie look, obviously, for like IPWF, which they did last time. That works because it's old school. So I can get obviously people like that might have an issue with it. And I guess you just got to see, well, if they're going to participate, what type of show is it? Like this is probably the highest level. And then you see people kind of on both. And I can kind of see it. It depends how you want to kind of put the plus special content. But we've seen big title changes, big venues. So, and I know a lot of people are saying, have they outgrown this for this type of thing? And it's something to consider going in the next year. Like maybe you do a glorified house show, an IPWF, something like that. Maybe it's not a plus special. So something to think. Like if you participate, like you never do a big four and you never do TV.
Right.
I think those are off the table due to production. But this was, I think they tested it, and we'll see. I think it's mixed, at least the reaction. Like once again, I think talent-wise, match-wise, we'll go over it. Very solid, very good. But the production, and a lot of people are looking for production value, that took it down a notch or two for some people. So it's definitely something to keep in mind as we go forward. But obviously, no fault of the talent, and really it's just deciding if TNA should be part of that or not.
Right. I mean, and I mean, you could tell, like, camera-wise, that there was a difference.
Yeah.
But honestly, for me personally, and everyone's different how they, like, visualize stuff.
How you visualize, yeah. If you can look past
absorb it.
A lot of people can't.
Yeah, like, if they see something different, they're going to be like, oh, what's, like, it's automatically something wrong. Like, oh, what's wrong with TNA?
Yeah, like we're seeing, like, Aaron Jack here just mentioning, like, the house shows in the UK, do a big house show in the UK. But remember the UK content, we had similar comments for those shows that were kind of put together because it was similar. It was a new crew, local crew, and there were, but that was for TV. So that was kind of, in my mind, that's where you stretch too far.
Yeah.
Because I think you want to keep your TV product looking very similar.
Right.
But once again, I don't think it's a huge deal. But it's something that I know has been a hot topic since the show trended.
For me, it looked okay. I mean, did it look? I mean, if it obviously probably looked different to you, and
it did. But I'm seeing it for what it is. Like I said, but I'm a guy that watches a lot of indies, watches a lot of other promotions. So, but TNA has very good production value usually on that AXS TV. So it was definitely a step down from that. But I was expecting that. I think a lot of people weren't, but I was at the previous show there for IPWF, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. But I think, and it's a good sign, there's a lot of even newer viewers at TNA with the NXT relationship, Joe Hendry, all this stuff going on that probably didn't see a couple years ago. So this might be their first time seeing them, and they were like, whoa, what happened here? This is very different from one. But you got to look at the size of the venue. See, like, it's a ballroom in a hotel. You can only do so much with a ballroom in a hotel.
Right. So you only have so much room for lighting, trusses, and all that stuff.
Correct.
So,
but once again, I think they still did a very good job, obviously, with the show itself.
Sure.
Like I said, for me, that really doesn't matter as much, but I know a lot of people it does. So I just want to at least get that out there, out of the way, and then focus obviously on a quality plus special. And we'll get into this as we get to the end. The whole JBL.
Oh,
that's like
yeah,
my
man.
biggest bone of contention in the company right now. Karen Sullivan, but it shouldn't have been a PLE. That's my issue with it. And I think that's the debate going forward. Because I think that's the level they were testing. They tested it. And will they do it again? Unknown. We'll see.
Right. Just to see, like, you know, if I think you could still call it a success. I mean, there was a good amount of people there.
Yeah, like, well, obviously you had a built-in crowd already because it was one of the WrestleCade included shows. But then a lot of people did jump on it once TNA was announced and be like, hey, grab your GAs, grab it. And that's pretty much all that was available because WrestleCade was almost, I think maybe you could get 7th or 8th row once it got announced. But
some of those rows went way like
they went way back. Like they filled up. Like,
my God.
I don't know if the actual numbers are out there, but I got to imagine like it was over 1,000 people. But they were all flat. Like it's all level. That's the problem with a ball.
Yeah, no bleachers. It was all ground level. Yeah. So I don't know how that came off. Like being there as a like if you're watching on TV, there's like no issue. But if you're there, obviously you're
that could be an issue. If you're behind, because I know I always talk about that way, and we can say real quick because I know there's that thing out there. I don't know if you saw it, J-Bone, that TNA is putting out, and I believe it's going to be announced tomorrow. Pick a location for next year for I believe
for one
PLE.
It
might
of the
even be
shows.
Rebellion. I don't know if they officially said which show it is, but it's going to be like it's LA versus New York City. Not New York, New York City.
So basically, what coast?
Yeah, what coast? Major city. LA versus New York City. And just to let everybody know, they haven't played New York City proper in a while. The last time it was supposed to be was Rebellion years ago during COVID at Terminal 5, which they have not played TNA.
Right.
But you talk about it like what we just were saying behind each other. And I'll just give my 2 cents if nothing's confirmed with Terminal 5. If you're not in the front row of Terminal 5 and you're not in front of like because it's multiple floors, it's like a club in New York. And if you're not like up against the wall for your sort of front row in those sections, you can't see a thing. I went there for Ring of Honor a few times, and it is like it's a rough venue if you're not. If you don't have the sight line, and not many people get that sight line. So that's not a great venue in my mind to run. I don't think they would run it. I think that was what they were looking at then. My thought is maybe that Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden where AAA ran and TNA worked with them. I think that'd be a pretty cool venue.
Right. That's like the basement, right? Or is that upstairs? Is it downstairs from Madison Square Garden? Is that what it is?
I believe it is downstairs. The theater's downstairs. The garden would be above it, then there, and then obviously the Penn Station way underneath it.
Right. And that show looked great. You know?
Yeah, so I think like look wise, cool, like that, like that's obviously where the NFL draft was for a bunch of years, but once again, undecided. But I have a feeling they're gonna play both next year. I think they'll wind up saying they're going to LA and New York City. So but something to keep in mind.
So, but yeah, let's start going through the card and or the results, and then we can, you know, pick some stuff apart. Some stuff we can go over more than others, but I was down for a few days, so everything's fuzzy. So I gotta like remind myself. It's like,
well, there was a countdown show, which had the triple threat match, knockouts match, Rosemary, Zia Brookside, and Savannah Evans.
Okay. The system. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just looking at a headline. I was like, "Oh, God! It looks like there's gonna be. Looks like there's gonna be some fun stuff this Thursday." Now,
focus on Thursday.
Now, sadly, I gotta work the next several days. My next off day is Saturday. So that might be when we do the next show.
Okay. When you said that earlier, I was not actually sure about that. Because like I said, I know I am going to be definitely like unable to run a show on Thursday. So that most likely then will mean a postponement of the review for this Thursday. So TNI fam, stay tuned. We'll let you know if it changes, but most likely it will be Saturday. Yeah, I'm doing an indie show, but like indie as in not the farmers market around the corner, but the next town over. So I'm sure it'll be over by the time we go live. So I'll be good on Saturday.
Okay. I did miss this knockout show, so I'm going to kind of throw it to you.
And that's what that was the countdown. I just quickly like that was like Rosemary won that match.
Okay,
good to see.
You know, that's interesting because all three of these girls kind of have something going on in different stories, so it really was a horse apiece, you know.
It was, but I still think, I know we've talked about it for a while, I still think Rosemary's being built up to a knockouts title match, world title match. I feel like they did there. They paused it. They went there. They paused it. They did the tag. I think the knockouts tag kind of came out of the blue and kind of postponed stuff for a while. But now I think they're going to go back into that. So I thought Rosemary would win this, and it was good to see. There you go. Saturday night TNI. Look out. That's a rare occurrence. Other than some of the live premium live events, there really hasn't been like a review show on a Saturday night. That's almost unheard of in TNI land. So that's a special. Like there might be a Saturday night's main event coming to a TV broadcast near you in the future, but a Saturday night TNI, whoa, that doesn't happen often.
Yeah, for a makeup show, that's that is a little different there, So watch out for that. So adjust your.
Who knows? Maybe we can even get a special guest. You never know with a Saturday.
Ooh.
We might be changing the fabric of what's going on around here. You never know.
What?
It's Saturday night, man.
Yeah.
The creatures come out.
There's the creatures. Yeah. By the way, there's a new T-shirt. Go check it out. And
very cool T-shirt. If that's at the next show, I might have to pick that baby up.
Yeah, that is different. I like that, especially if you're been looking for like a solo Jeff Hardy. Like if you love the Hardys, but you're more of a fan of Jeff Hardy, the creature.
And as a history guy myself, on the Lincoln Memorial, like come on, that's
hilarious.
Oh, Mayor, just assume your normal TNI time, which is normally about 10:30 Eastern, 9:30 Central. I know we went a little earlier because of the double shot tonight, but just assume normal TNI time.
Yeah.
Or as you would say, 10 to 15 minutes later than that.
Right. It's the bells and whistles. Got to get them all lined up because we're still learning formats.
Yes. Like tonight, I it was my first time, Jay. Now I know I've seen the controls. I've been behind the curtain.
Speaking of behind the curtain, I saw the Wizard of Oz. It was our Thanksgiving. Our Thanksgiving was Friday night as opposed to Thursday night. And so while we were waiting for turkey dinner, we were watching Wizard of Oz, which is
classic Thanksgiving staple.
It is, and I don't know why, but it is. I think it's just because of what she says at the end, that she's so thankful for her family and everything, and I think that's kind of why it always goes back to that.
It goes back to that, and then that's what TV executives decades ago decided. Yeah. Like my mom grew up on they would put that on at I think it was Thanksgiving and Easter. Then it became mainly just Thanksgiving that they would play it on TV. Like that was one of the go-to movies that would be. It's it's the holiday, it's on.
Right. Yeah. Growing up, my first memories at my grandparents' house, sitting around the big ass TV that was the big RCA on the floor,
Mm-hmm. Hey, but now, J-Bone, If it's Thursday Thanksgiving, you got TNA wrestling now every Thursday as a staple. Every Thanksgiving Thursday.
There you go.
Which we know, like, it wasn't a quote unquote show, like standard show, but it was matches not seen before from various tapings. So we can definitely get into that another time. But like, obviously, if you have any thoughts on those, feel free to put them in the comments or leave them behind. If there was any matches you really liked, like you had that casket match, you had a couple other, had a real good knockouts match from Philly. So some cool stuff on that show. Definitely something to check out.
I missed it because I was under the weather. I was
pre-turkey under the weather.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I was sick for like 5 days straight. It was ridiculous. Could not shake it. It's finally yesterday, sweated it out. All right. So we continue.
Let it out, baby. So now we get the official start of the real show.
Right. I'm not going to go through all the stuff in between interviews and all that stuff. We got Mike Santana and Frankie Kazarian starting things out here. Look, you guys know how much I've been, gushing on Kazarian.
I know, Jay Bud.
But I love this road of Mike Santana that he's got a goal. He's got to get to that championship somewhere down the line, but he's got to knock down these pegs first. He's got to
knock them down. And who better than the king, self-proclaimed.
Right.
And the man with the gauntlet. Like that's a big win. You got to go through him if you're going to go for the title.
Right. Moose was a huge starting point. Now he had Kaz. What do you think of this match?
No, I thought it was a good match. Like Kaz, I like to get on him for being the fake king, which he is. But he is an OG. He's a legend of TNA.
Right. And he's doing it so well. Matches. That's why
he doesn't
love
have
it.
Bad matches. Yeah, like
right.
So and Santana's been on a tear since he got back. And you can see it. We've been saying it for months that we see 2025 as a Mike Santana year. Like he's gonna do some stuff there. And he's been and honestly, he's been great in the ring. He's had some good matches for sure. But his promo work's been very good. He's elevated that part of his game for sure. Like the passion.
It's a combination of his passion, his charisma, and production. How they're piecing this together, showing his coming uppins in society, his culture, and then mixing it with the business. I just got goosebumps. They're doing a tremendous job. Whether he's talking about himself, where he came from, his goals, whatever it is, TNA is knocking it out of the park.
No doubt.
But like I said, I'm torn. I'm watching this match, Bill, and freaking
there's going to be some Frankie devotees that aren't happy with this result.
Oh my God!
But that's the beautiful thing about the gauntlet. Like
it is.
He still has his title shot.
He does.
It doesn't hurt him. He can lose 10 matches in a row.
It can come
and cash that in for a title.
Right. Like he's still like hiding in the wings. Yeah. His springboard stuff. I don't know another guy that does it as flawlessly as Kaz. His springboard neck breakers.
It's very clean.
His cutters. When he's facing the outside of the ring, springboards, does a 180 and does the leg drop. That's like my favorite move. I wish that was a finisher because that's my favorite move that he does right now. Every single time I'm like, oh my God, he's going to decapitate the guy. No, he just does it. It's like,
well, he does do his finisher off the ropes, which you don't see much anymore. Like that is kind of interesting what he does.
It's amazing. Kaz is just, I don't know how he does it. He's in incredible shape. He just, it's like, no wince, no doesn't move. He's down for 5 minutes because he's been doing it forever. No, man. It's like he's 18. It's like, what is going on with this guy? Unbelievable, man. It's like I said, I'm torn, man. I love the Mike Santana stuff, but I look at Kaz and I'm like, how the hell can you hate it? It's especially if you're old school,
Well, in ring, I don't hate Kaz at all. I'm a big Kaz proponent. I just have issues with the King moniker. That's my only beef with Kaz.
The character.
He ain't no king. He ain't no king.
Uncrowned.
Well, he should say that. He wants it. He's a self-proclaimed king. I don't like self-proclamations.
I know. So
unless they're about professional podcasters.
It's right. Yeah. It's well, in that case, it's me. I've been doing this forever. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
well, at
kidding.
that point, you live the gimmick. It's like the dumb.
I kid. I'll say I've been doing this forever, but I don't act like it. You know what I mean? It's like
there you
go. But great starting match here. Mike Santana gets another solid win, and man. Good stuff here.
Very good.
And we got some we continue, we go from a serious into a bit of a comedy match, but still anything can happen. We've got the man, I gotta turn my ringer down. Sorry. The other chat's going cuckoo. Sorry. The guys are talking.
Pre-show.
Bone Man's cheating on us. No. Yeah. They're just getting all their ducks in a row, and then we go live in like a half an hour or whatever it is. So yeah, we gotta move. Thanksgiving turkey bowl match, or turkey trot, if you will. Joe Hendry, Eric Young, Hammerstone, Rhino, Brian Myers, and John Skyler. Now, I was actually wrong because you look at this and you're like, okay, who are prominent names? Who are lower tier on the roster names? And you can pick a couple names here who could end up being the turkey. And I was actually wrong. I was pleasantly surprised. It ended up being Brian Myers. So
they'll surprise you. Some big names have worn the turkey costume too. They'll go both ways on that. Like you'll have your normal, I could see that guy, the comedy guy, or someone being the guy. But like AJ Styles wore the turkey suit. If AJ Styles can wear it, anyone can wear it.
But that's also way back before AJ Styles had the legendary status.
He still had a pretty good rep at the time.
He did, but he was still doing everything from his charismatic self to like goofy secondhand guy in a crew. It kind of like he kind of like what Eric Young was doing, only different. Going back and forth. Serious matches, goofy stables, serious stables. Styles has done it all. It's hilarious. But so yeah, Brian Myers gets the turkey thing here. One little piece of news, I didn't hear any like details. I got to look deeper into it. If you know anything, we can quick touch on it. Looks like Hammerstone was hurt during the match or something.
I think it looked like something, but I think he's okay. I don't think it was something serious.
Nothing long term.
I haven't seen much come out afterwards, which I'm hoping is a good thing. But it was also a holiday weekend.
Okay.
You never know with this stuff. Like just like in any pro sport, it's like something looks very benign and it's very serious. But then other things look very serious and they are. Like you just never know.
Well, like maybe something I think I read something with his knee, but I didn't hear anything specific.
Yeah, just like we saw Vikingo, and that we thought that was going to be very serious, and then like a couple weeks, that's all it was for him. A couple weeks, so which hopefully we see again soon. Speaking of Vikingo,
you're
about
right.
that time.
He's amazing.
Back.
So, but yeah, there's some tradition there. Everyone got to enjoy.
Yeah, and just because I know it's also a hot topic, a hot take out there, I see Terrence mentioned because this was Joe Hendry's match. So since TNA dropped the ball with Joe Hendry, they might as well move him back to the mid card where they see him foolish, I'd say, and go ahead and elevate their guy Mike Santana to world champ. Now, I think Mike Santana does have a shot next year, probably later next year, because I don't think they dropped the ball. I think we definitely debate that they should have put the belt on him already when everything was very, very hot off the NXT run and during the NXT run.
Okay.
But I think you will see Joe Hendry win that world title maybe as soon as Genesis, that first live TNA.
Could be.
If we get through the end of Rebellion, or who knows, maybe it won't even be Rebellion next year. And he's not world champion by then I'll say they may have dropped the ball.
Oh, as far as like the second PLE of the year or whatever.
Yeah, like he needs the world title by then.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he is a different kind of character. He's got some comedy, but he's also a serious wrestler. So it's, different people look at him different ways, I think. So we'll see. Wrestling's funny. We'll see what happens.
I think they're going to give him a big push into a world title.
Okay.
I think the whole thing with NXT, I think overall it helped, but I think it probably skirted plans a little bit, and then they couldn't rush them in their mind, but maybe they could have. So, but I think they will. Like I said, I've been wrong about this. Like years ago, I always mentioned it when Moose was a face at Rebellion that he had to go over as world champ. He didn't.
Oh yeah.
When heel,
everyone thought he was
world champion.
That was it.
It was better in the end. So that very well could happen with Joe, but you got to take advantage of it while you can. That's why I said if it gets beyond Rebellion, that's too long. So it's got to be somewhere in those first couple months.
Maybe he's got to just go back to being a homewrecker heel, and that's how he'll get it.
Well, and maybe that happens. Maybe it happens that way. Although, and we'll get into it. And the JBL thing has to be completed by then.
Oh yeah.
If they get out of Texas and JBL isn't figured out, I'm checking out on that storyline.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but yeah, crazy.
You can't tease something that little with that much focus that many times and not get a payoff.
This is what number? How many times now? 4, 5?
I think it's 4, but I'd have to double check. I think it's 4.
Crazy. So, all right. But next match here, TNA X-Division Championship on the line. Moose against Laredo Kid. Very interesting. Real quick side note, not to stray off track, 'cause I'm trying to keep the train on the tracks. But I did notice that someone that's coming up later on this card as a surprise is facing Laredo Kid in AAA.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So
sometimes you start seeing connections like that where maybe big indie shows, some other stuff, other companies, and usually there's something to that a lot of the time. Where it's like they know they'll be working together, stuff like that, and we'll get all into that when we get into that match.
Yeah.
But good note there, J-Bone.
I think that could be something to kind of put in your back pocket and see if that pays off later.
Yeah. I honestly think it will in the long run. Well, let's talk about this match first. I don't want to get off track.
There you go.
Let's talk about Moose and Laredo Kid. I know Moose,
greatest X-Division champion of all time, Moose.
Oof. So,
like he should be going. He should be going honky tonk right now. Just be that. He should just say that all the time. I'm the greatest X-Division champion of all time. Moose.
Facts are facts, you know. I mean,
he ain't wrong.
It's
no limits.
I'm still getting used to it. And it's one of those things. It's going to be like a few more matches where it's like you see that belt around his waist and it's like, okay. And you start having that feeling, you know, back in the day where you see, you know, Samoa Joe, you know, donning the X Division belt and stuff like that.
Samoa Joe, like I like that. I like when they get a little bit out of the comfort zone of the cruiserweight, light heavyweight X Division champion.
Yeah,
still have them be the majority of the division, but I like mixing it up a little bit. Especially like Moose, he can do things that you don't think of a big man. Still, I will go on the record, if not the best, right at the top, standing drop kick in the business.
Oh, top 3. Absolutely.
Like, it's very tough to find someone with a better standing drop kick than Moose. And that's one of my go-tos. If you do a great standing drop kick, I'm already a big fan.
Yeah, and the fact that he can work, you know, heavyweight championship matches, and now you're shifting gears and you're throwing a different caliber of wrestler at him on a significant basis
that's a skill. Like it's still unbelievable for a guy that was in the NFL for that long.
Right.
To get into wrestling later in life and to be so good. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves for what he's become. It's amazing what he's done. He's like the longest, has the huge contract and the longest, he's going to be like the longest tenured straight TNA guy. I think it's awesome.
For loyalty wise, yeah, it's great.
Yes. Like that's a guy that like he embraced the brand and like he is TNA. Like you should look at TNA now and like that's a guy you've been seeing now since 2016.
Yeah.
He's a standard.
He has matured in the ring. He's matured as a person.
Like, because you could see the talent and the skill. I saw him live in Ring of Honor when he first started.
Right.
And to see where he's progressed to now, like that's like he should be a guy that holds every title in the company before he's done. Right.
Yeah. Aaron Jacks, says he's come a long way. He really has. He's amazing to watch. Sometimes you forget once in a while everything that he's done. Yeah.
You've had the grand title.
I was trying to think of the name of that just now, and I'm like, yeah, even titles like that are like what I consider a throwaway championship because I didn't get into how those matches were laid out. It just completely took me out of.
It's almost a thing.
I didn't like it.
It was before its time in a way.
It was.
It just wasn't executed. I think it was a good idea, but it wasn't executed well.
It's the same thing that WWE.
Well, I think it could be very good.
Right. WWE's doing it now with the speed thing.
Yeah.
Which
once again, maybe not executed great, but it's like one of those things where if you can combine the pro wrestling MMA together in a solid format, just for part of it, like a division title, it could work. I do see the possibility. Well, like I said,
it just wasn't done great. And no talent of the wrestlers that were doing it. It was more the setup, the judging system and all that. It just wasn't the best way. But
I don't know. Like I said, it's the time limit thing that takes me out of it. If you're gonna have 2-minute segments or whatever it was, and then you got to stop and get a pat down or take a powder or whatever the hell they were doing, and I'm like, oh man, let's go. I want a 10-minute match at least. I want a 20-minute match, for your main event or whatever.
Well, what I don't like. It's the long pauses. It's the long video package, and which are good. Like certain things deserve it, but you don't always do it. It can be overdone. And I'm sure you'll be talking about it with your ramblers later, talking about Survivor Series. I thought I was wrong, but I heard someone say between every match was almost 20 minutes of packages. That's how long the breaks were. If I'm there live, I'm pulling my hair out.
Oh, see, I'd have to go back. I know the entrances were long. Well, especially for the 2 War Games matches. Those are long.
Yeah, a lot of people. You gotta pick up the pace, people.
Yeah.
It's like our show tonight. You gotta pick up the pace.
But that's that's where you create the drama, But I don't want to.
So that's why at times it works, but it can be overdone.
Yeah. So, but yeah, great match. Laredo, takes the L here.
He gave him a hell of a fight.
He did.
And I did like that Lish was with Moose.
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen that really.
Yeah, that was a little different.
Moose is normally his own thing solo.
Yeah, so seeing a valet of sorts with him.
Not that he needs it, but big Lish fan here. I think when he's full on heel, her on the side, maybe getting into shenanigans to help him out when he does need it, not a bad thing.
Yeah.
That could be a perfect combo.
Yeah. Now they're trying to keep things moving here because I'm looking at what's left and we really got to move. It's already almost 9:15 here. So got to keep it chugging. But not to rush too much. But this next match was my match of the night. I'm gonna make it easy, J-Bone. I'm gonna agree with you. Nice.
Me. I'm a big fan of Moose, but we've been talking about this feud for a long time. The feud that was so built up due to injury, got delayed, then had a one-off match and was done. But now they revisited it here. And I think these guys are really going at it. And they put on a hell of a match here. This is their best match. So, if you want to take one takeaway from Turning Point regarding anything else, this is by far the best one-on-one matchup between Maclin and Alexander that we've been waiting for. Now, I have a feeling we'll see this again because I think they know what they have here. And they got to have, I assume, at Genesis, a full-on, let's do this again and really kind of steal the show. But, this was a great match.
It could be the thing that ends, I hate to say it that way, but ends Josh Alexander's stint in TNA because that interview came out today, and I'm just touching on this. I'm not getting into the whole thing because I didn't even listen to the whole thing. But as far as straight factual news coming out of the interview with Chris Van Vliet, his day of free agency comes in the middle of February 15th.
But which we knew because they extended him in February. They exercised the 1-year option in February of last year. So they haven't obviously come to a new deal. So he's going to be a free agent unless they re-sign him in the meantime.
Right. He's pretty much saying he wants to test the market because he wasn't able to last year. Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's yeah, man, go. Just see who's talking. See who's gonna, back up that money truck to your freaking front door.
At this point, there might be one big money contract left.
Like that's how it is in wrestling. Like if there's that offer out there, you'd be doing yourself and your family the service if you didn't entertain it. I think in this business, I think they all probably have an idea of kind of what's roughly out there even before they hit free agency, but can make that decision. Like obviously he's had a great place here to hone his craft and be at the upper part of the card for many years. I think if he remains here, he'll still be the same. If he goes somewhere else, unknown. But just like with everybody else that's made that decision, we wish them the best. And hopefully they get the chance to shine. Sometimes they do. A lot of times they don't. Yeah. And it's not really through fault of their own. It's just the opportunities. Will they be there or not? And if they'll be there, will they be there for a brief second? And if you don't capitalize them on immediately, will you not get them again? That's sadly the case in wrestling.
Yeah. I've absolutely enjoyed watching him grow with this company. As now, I gotta focus back on the match now because, man, Maclin. I mean, no one in my professional
there it is
podcasting opinion.
We've been waiting for it, J-Bone.
No one lost in this match, okay? Because they
both look great.
They both shined, you know.
But going into that and the post credits with Maclin on TV a couple weeks ago, like Maclin is due also. Like we talk about Santana, Macklin's being pushed
right
up that card.
It's so easy when you look at be like, okay, so this guy's next, okay, and then this guy's next somewhere down the line.
And you still have Joe Hendry, and then you got Frankie on the outskirts. The main event scene it's solid, man. It's busting at the seams.
There's at least 4 people all climbing this hill on different sides right now, and they're all.
And we're not even talking about Moose with option C, whenever he wants. Like he kind of poo-pooed it, but come on, you never know. It's Moose.
It's yeah, exactly. But as soon as I saw that. As soon as I'm gonna just take a second here, and I'm gonna mess with the controls.
Share screen or Rooney?
No, I'm just gonna do a quick overlay.
Okay.
As soon as I saw Maclin, and I've seen
it's been a while. We've been talking about this.
So many people asking, when is he putting the makeup back on?
I didn't know if he was even going to do it again. It's been so long.
But as soon as he
said, I'm done with it.
As soon as he showed up like this, Bill, I'm like, just game over, man.
Now, that's the thing. Big shows, that's got to become an all the time. Like if it's. Like, I'm not saying you got to do it on all TV. I'm not saying you got to do it on all PLEs. But if it's a big 4, if it's certain PLEs, or even if it's like a live Impact, I need the pain. Because that does bring the character up another level. It really does.
Yeah.
I know, like, I think everyone will probably equate this to the Finn Balor, where he would only do pain occasionally, then to almost never. But it was very there was a lot going on with
demon.
That pain. Yeah, the demon. There was a lot going on with the demon. But I think, and it's still all makeup's a lot of work. But man, that adds such a part to that character.
And he also did so much with characters outside of the demon. Like when his New Japan run, when Balor showed up as like the Joker. Oh my God. And then he did like a Taker thing where he came out of the coffin, and then he did all this stuff.
And that's the thing. It can be overdone too. So I'm not saying that's all I'm saying. Don't do it all the time.
No, I just mean it shouldn't be like because he changed
once every couple years. Like that's too long. It'd be tweet.
Yeah. But yeah, I was so
the push is official once the makeup was seen. So I agree. Just when you saw the makeup, like we knew the match would be good. There it is.
I was like, oh,
but
yeah,
once the makeup was on, even before we saw the match of the night, it's like you knew it was going to be match of the night.
It's my favorite custom, you know. Like there it is.
And that's the thing. Like even his actual figures, like the major bendies and all like that, they had the face paint on. So like he knows that's his thing.
Yeah.
Which is, but like I'm very happy to see the push. It's well deserved. Like he was gonna be there, and then it got sidetracked, but now it feels like it's there. So 2025, man, it's gonna be a hell of a year in the main event.
It is. So let's talk about this next one. This next one brought a little bit of controversy, but also a decent amount of hype. And I can't wait to get your opinion on this because I've been mixed opinion on the surprise that showed up in this match. But first, let's say who's in this match. We got TNA World Tag Team Champions. Belts not on the line, just 3-on-3. The Hardys, Matt and Jeff, with Ace Austin versus it was supposed to be the Rascals. So it was Zachary, Wentz, Trey Miguel, and KUSHIDA. Trey Miguel couldn't make the trip. He had some travel issues or whatever it was. And they had to find a fill-in. Now, of course, they're at where they're at, and they got a lot of options here. So you kind of look at, you know, who's under what kind of contract, who's going to fit in, who's going to give a lot of bang for your buck, so to speak. They picked, I gotta say, Bill, they picked a winner with Matt Riddle. They really did. That crowd popped.
Oh, that's gonna pop the crowd.
They popped bigger, in my opinion. I played it back because I had to see it again. But that crowd popped bigger. This is Hardy country, Bill. This crowd popped bigger for Matt Riddle than the Hardys in Hardy country. Your thoughts?
Which is not easy to do. Because I was there in North Carolina. I was here in South Carolina, so a little out, still in Hardy country, no doubt. That a little bit more down the street, but still there. But I think it just shows you though, Matt Riddle had a big run up north with WWE. Like the tag team would awarded way over. Household name, a lot of people know, a lot of casual fans know. Same thing with the Hardys, but obviously, timing wise, even though it's now been a while, even for Riddle, it's more recent, and that does play a part in all this. And obviously, just like the Hardys, like there's a rock and roll, like, and then the throwback to the Attitude Era and all that you all get with the Hardys, which that you could just say like that gives some of that built-in pop. But Riddle, it's just, and then obviously from the UFC, but to the whole, like he has a fan base. He has a big fan base. So not a huge surprise. I know we've talked about Riddle on here before when he was when we talked free agents in the past, and still to now he's one of still the bro man, it's favorite. You love that.
Oh my God, he loves ripping on him.
He does, which is good. It's well deserved.
Hey, Eric, Easy-E says, controversy creates cash.
Yeah,
facts.
And so far, like obviously he's worked a lot with MLW, New Japan, AAA, and just like, hey, there's the same things were said about Jeff. And he's been model citizen in his return here to TNA. Just obviously, as we were talking about, re-signed, which is great to see with Matt for another year. But with here, hey, we got our good friend here, Basil, in the chat. I haven't seen Basil in
nice,
and I didn't even realize Basil was there taking pics.
He was. See, that's the thing.
Cool
he was there. I got a question for Basil. Give me a second here. I'll let you finish your thought.
But yeah, but Riddle, like I said, I've seen him in MLW since the pop. Like he is one of those biggest names there. And if you're there, and let's not kid ourselves, when you're talking rascals, who would fit better in the treehouse than Matt Riddle? He was made for the treehouse. Like, I think they could have went with the easy button on that and gone Myron Reed because he is a rascal. Shaman. Yeah, but to go Matt Riddle, like you're getting your name into the news. It might be a one-off, but if anything, you're testing those waters more so than ever before of maybe bringing him in on something more. Which, once again, like that's something that you could definitely look at into the future because that is a guy that there's not a lot of people out there. Like bringing in the Hardys was huge, but if you're looking for big names to add, that's one of those guys. And I was glad to see it. Once again, I know it's one of those names out there that people like. There's some opinions on because obviously the way like he didn't leave on his own. WWE like there was reasons they got rid of him. But
he was partying hard.
Like he's a like. Hopefully he's toning that down a bit. Sometimes people like they get a couple chances. They hopefully eventually they learn the lesson. That might be the case now. It might not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But hopefully all of his interaction, and I've heard nothing negative from his interaction from anyone that was there. So that's all positive. So who knows? Maybe do one at a time. See what happens.
One thing we can both speak because we know factually, and we also trust and love the opinion of Trent, former host of this podcast.
Former.
He's still
Sabbatical.
part of he's still part of the we're waiting for the fall of Trent. The fall of Trent, yeah. It sounds like a play that we're gonna put on, the fall of Trent. No. Like the Achilles heel or something. No. Trent just worked with Matt Riddle in AAW, and I apologize, I don't remember who he faced, but that's besides the point. But I asked him, I'm like, hey, how did it go? And he said it went great. So I look at it like you got to look at how he performed here. You hear other, things like, especially performing in a smaller indie like AAW, and then also showing up and working, at a bigger show like TNA, where it's like, all right, you don't want to fuck up here, just saying. I think it would be smart because the news came out that TNA was not going to try to keep Matt Riddle, or they were not going to try to use him again. Like this
I don't know.
Like,
I read
this was a one and done. Well, let me just finish this.
I think I think there was some jumps to conclusions on this.
Right. So I read that from a couple different things. I look at it like in a case like this, you got to go by several different points. You also have to listen to your fans. That place popped. Period. End of subject. There is no, I don't know. No, they did. Period. That's factual. They popped bigger than the Hardys. And if he's proven himself, I think you got to bring him back. And you got to, if he's working AAA, burned a bridge with New Japan. I don't know what went wrong there. Just, it was weird. But he's a champion down in AAA Mexico. He's facing Laredo Kid within the next week or so. So that's interesting. So there's that TNA connection again. He's working the MLW show. He's working House of Glory. He's working several bigger indie shows. I look at the guys behind the scenes at TNA, and I'm like, bring him in, a few times during a quarter and really give him a solid, like a quick run, just to test the waters. Yeah. And then you could always sign him for longer.
Yeah. And I got to imagine, I know like kind of the stories you're referring to that all kind of came out and obviously it was a last minute. Trey had travel issues along with PCO. So it's like, hey, something come together real quick. Let's go for the home run and let's use Riddle. But did they have any plans going into that? No, like that. But hopefully, based on that, I doubt they went, oh, now we're closing that door. I don't think that's the thing. I got to imagine if they were happy with everything. Now it's like it makes it interesting. It's like, should we consider that? If we were just talking about Josh, if Josh leaves, that's a hole. Maybe you need to fill it with somebody. Right. Maybe then you go, hey, that was a pretty good experience. That guy got a good pop. Maybe we give him a shot. So once again, I think he would be a benefit to the roster. But once again, like you got to see what creative plans are, because if you bring him in, you got to throw him in the main event scene and going for the title, which is very crowded. Once again, it might not make sense, but maybe it makes sense around Slammiversary. So I think it's something that you look at. I don't expect an immediate return, like where you see him in Atlanta coming up, but I think it now opens the door more than it ever has been.
He's got commitments, he's got stuff going on with MLW. So I imagine MLW is a priority along with AAA,
mm-hmm.
So there's okay. So here's an example. Not everybody's on board with it.
There's fine. Definitely
that's fine.
Another side to it that's very vocal that was not happy to see him in TNA.
Yeah, if Mayor was there live, he'd be the one person booing, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
But really I know social media, and I know it's easy to be negative on social media, but like when the show was going and I was checking what was going on my feeds and all, there were more than him that were not happy with it, and there are a lot of people that were fans in WWE that aren't happy at how that all ended. So there's a negative taste on Matt Riddle right now. Like and what he's doing on the indies and stuff is working back to get that trust, get the fandom support again. And hopefully that TNA spot helps him either way. If it's in TNA again at some point, or even if it's just continuing to rebuild his career.
His reputation,
because
right.
My interactions with Matt Riddle over the years have always been positive. I can't speak for everybody else, but like I like the guy. I'm a fan of the guy. I enjoy watching him perform. So I definitely would like I said, I'd support it myself. But I'm sure TNA they saw what they saw, and they're gonna make whatever decision they do next year, and maybe give him a shot, maybe not. We'll see. But I liked it. I thought it was a good surprise, because I think it leaked a little bit early, but I wasn't paying attention to it. But I'm like, I thought it was a pretty good one, because like I think we were on the same wavelength, J-Bo, and I think we both thought it was going to be Myron Reed.
Yeah, I mean that's an easy first guess. If you're gonna bring someone relatable, someone a little more X-Division type or something,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, we'll see. Please put your good or bad. Put your opinions, or I should say, not good or bad, but for or against, by all means. And if you're watching this after the fact, we want to hear.
Dazzle's been waiting here. What was your question, Jay?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Old man Bone. Swear to God. Story of my life. Don't even know.
Did you forget, Jay? But did you really forget?
I totally did. Totally did. But nonetheless, it's great to see you here.
Was it something about production, atmosphere, reaction to a talent? I'm just trying to help.
It probably, but I'm just gonna keep moving, because we're falling behind here.
Basil, let us know where we can find your pictures in the chat. If they're on the TNA site or
thank you.
Else.
Thank you. That's exactly it. I looked at you. Boom! You said pictures, and boom! They're like my head just exploded. I was looking at the pictures because I know he was there from Turning Point, and I was looking for pictures from this match because I was trying to see like pictures of Matt Riddle, the Hardys, just everyone involved in the match, and there's no pictures from this particular match with the Hardys and Riddle in the whole,
Oh, the gallery?
Yeah. So that's so I was just curious, like if there was like a thing like you couldn't because Riddle was involved, so you weren't allowed to put pictures on the site. I was just curious, or what happened.
Oh.
Go to news and you'll find them. Oh, okay.
So maybe separate from the gallery.
Could be. Okay. All right. I'll take another look. But thank you, Basil. You've been doing a phenomenal job, Basil. Seriously. Production's been wonderful. Even when it's like changed up, everyone looked like they were working together for good cause. So well done. So, but yeah.
All right, rapid fire. Final 2 matches, J-Bone.
Here we go. But yeah, okay. So as high as the hype machine was moving, the Hardys still won. Okay. Which is, it's proper here. You got the tag champs win, even though
if Ace and the Hardys lost a second time in the Carolinas, I don't know if I could take it, J-Bone.
Well, it was just interesting. It was like, okay, so how are you gonna all right.
Basil's confirming, J-Bone, you were not crazy. Those pictures are not there. He's gonna talk to the team, find out what's going on.
Yeah, like I said, I was just my first thought was like maybe that match couldn't be in there because of Riddle was involved in the match or something. It
doesn't seem like it. It might seem like maybe some other thing, but that would be surprising.
Well, because on the cover, there's there's the one picture of the Hardys and Ace, but there's no other ones. So
okay.
So just just looking forward to see if that could get switched up or whatever. But anyways, we move along. But nonetheless, great pictures, especially of
knockouts. World title action.
Yes. Masha, 2 out of 3 falls defending against Jordynne Grace. Just another phenomenal example of how strong these two are. Obviously, we know the evidence is coming. Or I should say the obvious is coming down the road soon with Jordynne Grace moving into a similar situation like Josh Alexander. But I think Jordynne Grace's path is a little more settled on, possibly. But I don't think anything's a guarantee. Wait till people really start talking. But I'm sure, people never assume in wrestling. Never assume. Never assume, because as soon as you do, what? She went to MLW? No, I'm just kidding. No. Kidding. No, Jordynne Grace is. I'm sure she's going to the WWE, but you never know.
Yeah, if that didn't happen, then no.
Right, I'd be shocked. Yeah, shock everyone. And yet, there's the MLW faithful that would be like, I told you she would come.
Court, open up the checkbook.
There's that one guy. That one guy, his name is.
But there's still the possibility, as Aaron Jack said, Grace resigns. It still shows up there, too. Because of the relationship.
Right. You never know. But great match. What do you think, though?
I don't know if it was their best match, but it was a very good match. Because earlier we said like Maclin
and I think Maclin and Josh had their best match. This one I thought was a very good match. I probably don't put it as their number one match, maybe their second best match, but it was still very good. And I do think it was right. The story in the match, when you go 2 out of 3 falls, I think Jordynne had to win the first fall.
Yeah.
To put it out there. And then obviously it like that was the only fall she would get. So I think it was story-wise told the right way. And obviously Rosemary watching, well, as I said earlier, from her winning the pre-show match, it was like, once again, it feels like Rosemary is next. She's going to get a title shot. So they did that here in this match.
They hinted that at the end, or towards the end, because she was like way back at the entrance. And she didn't do a rundown. She was just,
Nope. But that's not Rosemary.
Well, if
she watches, she lurks. She's like Sting, WCW Sting.
Right. If there was a balcony, she'd be in it. But there's no balcony.
So she had to
she had to stay way. No, that's as far as you can go. Don't go up there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Lurking. Forever lurking. But yeah, good stuff. It's just you had to find a stipulation that was going to solidify Masha Slamovich's position as Knockouts champion without taking too much away from Jordynne Grace, because they don't want to make her look like garbage on her way out. I think it'd actually be really hard to. You'd have to really, F up.
But no, it was done the right way. It was done the right way.
It was 2 out of 3 falls. Someone still gets a pin. You get a solid match. You give it, you let the match breathe. Nothing's rushed. Good stuff. Good stuff. I love Masha as champ, but like I was so dead set for a while that Rosemary was going to be the next one to take it off of Jordynne. I'm still in that mode. Like there's an alternate universe where Rosemary's champ right now going, and I'm like,
and that's the thing. Like that's what I see as well. So I'm with you, J-Bone, because I was convinced Rosemary was going to be the one to get that, be that transition champion, get the belt again after a long time without it, and then pave the way for somebody else. But Jordynne, obviously, she put over Masha, which is great, because you needed to beef up that division, especially if it's going to be sans Jordynne Grace. But now getting, like, it still seems like viable contenders. I said this before. If Jordynne's not it, it's got to be Rosemary. And then you got to start building some others that can go after it. But I think you probably also need to bring in some new people too to get there.
Here's Max Magus, fellow Rambler. What's up, brother? Says I could think of one guarantee that has nothing to do with TNA or the TNA roster. I can guarantee that a certain promoter is doing lines right now. And well, you know what? You're probably correct. So, but we continue.
Herb Adams is back, baby.
Right? Back from the dead. Main event time, dude.
There it is.
Main event time. I gotta say, when I think back on this match, because I have really enjoyed Nic Nemeth's run, and I'm still wondering where this is all going. Like you could tell something's coming down the road with all this JBL stuff.
Something's afoot.
But the matches are still like, he's still right on track. He's not showing a lot of signs of, oh, this happened, so now this is his start of his heel run. He really hasn't shown a ton, of signs for that. Just JBL's shown up. Here's the confusing part. There was a segment that aired before this last TNA episode, okay, that showed JBL going into the System's locker room. Oh, very interesting.
Yeah, what's going on there?
And Gia Miller, it was just, left standing there with a microphone like, hello.
No comment?
Right. I've been waiting out here all day. He just walks in, really? It's like, that confused the hell out of me. He walks into their their locking. Wow.
I need to crush a couple more of those.
I got one in the fridge. He walks into their locker room. Shit. Locks of hair. Locker room. There. I said it. But he still helped Nic Nemeth. I don't get it. There's no flow to this. There's no flow, Bill. There's
Shenanigans by JBL.
It's shenanigans, but it doesn't make sense. That's the thing here.
They're gonna have to make it make sense. I said it at the beginning of the show, J-Bone. If this doesn't make sense,
there's A and the B and the
by
C
the time
comes
they leave
after.
Texas in January, I worry because we've had this happen before, where some storylines, maybe incomplete storylines, went too long or too far, and it lost interest to people. And that's a real risk they're taking right now with JBL, because this has been going on a long time. And this is where, like, since Bound for Glory, they've been focused on it more. So I'll say that. And if it does culminate in Texas, JBL Texas, then I get it. Fine. Like, it's there. It was a slow burn, very slow, but it was a slow burn. And if it pays off, great. If it doesn't pay off, or if it doesn't get addressed, and that's my worry. I'm so worried they're not even going to address it, and it's just going to go. Then it's, like I said, that this ended shows, multiple big shows of yours. This angle.
Like, big and small pay-per-views and mid-card ones, or mid. What do you say? In between, major PLEs.
Now, once again, is the end result, like, what is the fitting end result? Just that JBL is going to be, like, in the corner of a Nic Nemeth defense as a heel? Or is he actually going to get in the ring and fight Nic Nemeth or a member of the system? Or something like I feel like he has to be an in-ring. Something has to happen with JBL in-ring after or in Texas for this to have amounted to something.
It also feels like there has to be some sort of okay, so Santino is called what? The DOA, the Director of Authority.
Director of Authority.
Yeah. And so JBL, in the process of all this, I got a feeling he's gonna counter that with something. I don't know what, but he's gonna counter it with some kind of something that's not so hard for your average wrestling fan to understand, because I'm so freaking confused at this point. He'll be like, I'm from so and so, and this is what I stand for, and this is why I'm here. It's got to be something laid out like that,
It needs to be like I said, we need answers, and Texas is the time frame where this expires.
Part owner, something, for lack of better words.
The red herring we never got an answer to previously. Who put from Anthem? Who put Frankie Kazarian as the referee in that match? Still don't know that either.
Right. So corporate shenanigans,
Is he part of the corporate shenanigans?
What did they call it? What did they call it when it happened in ECW on ECW television right before they went under? So Cyrus the Virus was what they call them?
Oh, you're testing my late ECW TV
like
knowledge.
TV executives, something like that. Yeah, something to that. Yeah, something like that. So yeah,
the TV stooges.
Oh, okay. So little Silver here. It's funny you mentioned Dixie Carter.
Dixie.
I actually saw an opinion of someone that we touched on, and that Ramblers and I will talk about more once we go live shortly,
very shortly. I'll tell you, there seems to be a growing movement in the chat. It seems like the Ramblers want me to sit in.
They do.
If the TNI fam is with the Ramblers and needs me on the show tonight, I'm ready for a double shot. I'll take the double shot.
There we go.
But you all have to stick around and join us.
Find out. There you go. It just means more invites I got to hand out, so I got to keep my head on straight.
Well, now I can log in, so I'm good.
Well, there you go. But yeah, so Eazy-E, Eric Bischoff, said something to the effect of, in his professional opinion, Dixie Carter did a better job than Tony Khan, and I'll just leave it at that. Interesting.
A very opinion. Underrated job. A lot of people like to throw shade at Dixie. And she wasn't the perfect owner. I don't think she would ever say she was. She made mistakes. All promoters do. But I think overall, for someone that wasn't in the business, she tried to get the right people and give them the power. At times that was wrong. But at other times it was right. And I think she cared about the company. She tried to do best for what the company is. And even in the end, her selling it to Anthem, I think, is the only reason we still have TNA today.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to go back to the episodes that Trent, Bill, and I reviewed in the Asylum when you saw Dixie Carter in the middle of the audience, quietly sitting back there, clapping along. It's like, ooh, is that a rare Dixie Carter appearance? And that's when those conversations started happening. So, but anyways, amazing show, well-rounded, great knockout stuff.
We got a little JBL centric on the main event. Eddie gave a hell of a performance as well, but that's what you get from Eddie Edwards, the heart and
Absolutely.
Soul. So kudos to Eddie, but obviously Nick doing a great job as champ, gets the win there. But a great way to end the show.
Right.
And once again, obviously production differences, take it for what it is, but overall very solid matches. Once again, match of the night. We're in agreement. Maclin and Josh. I think they stole the show, but some other very good content. The Matt Riddle surprise. So a lot of good things to take out of it. And we'll see how it gets followed up as we get into the next couple weeks of TV. And then obviously in the final resolution as the next plus event. So looking forward to that.
We'll see what Jordynne Grace's final resolution is going into the next year. Everyone's going to have a different path. It's going to be very interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Jordynne Grace, what happens with Josh Alexander, and we'll talk about that more in the upcoming episodes of Total Nonstop Impact. Thank you very much, Bill. Looks like we might see you in a couple of minutes. We'll
this delayed show, and sorry for the delay with the holidays and sickness and all that. And then just for your next TNI, obviously stay tuned for the Ramblers. But it looks like TNI review for this Thursday will actually be this Saturday. So stay tuned, stay up to date for that. But it'll look like you'll get a special TNI review for the flagship on Saturday. But stick around right now for the Ramblers Unleashed.
There you go. All right. We'll see you in 2 and 2. Good night, folks. We'll see you in a bit.